Hello, welcome. As you can see, a new room, just moved house. My life is in lots of boxes at the moment, but on the day that I move, we've got a pre-launch community update. It was a really long presentation, so let me give you a little breakdown of all the key points. I might not be able to speak for everything, such as the changes with the switch axe and with the sword and shield, because I don't have as much of an in-depth knowledge of that. I'll flash those up on screen though, so you can have a look at the changes that they advertised anyway. We'll go into the launch changes as well, definitely, but I'm just going to go through, point out the main changes, because a lot of the stream was actually waiting for translations to happen, so maybe it can save you a bit of time here. So yeah, we had Jono and Joe speaking mostly in English. Then we had Patrick, who was translating the game director, Yuya, who was answering the questions, and so there was a lot of back and forth going on. This probably won't come across very well in my video because this is a live streamed video, and then I'm taking an image of it and then re-uploading that to YouTube, so there'll be a lot of detail lost there. But if you go and check out their video, they're trying to show that video from the PS5 performance mode and tries to show the changes that they've made and the updates there. It does seem very quick and snappy. It's hard to tell though, because it wasn't necessarily what I would deem a very taxing part of a game. But I guess they're trying to show that they've got a very smooth frame rate. To me, the details seemed about what it was in the... To me, the details seemed about what it... To me, the details seemed to be about what it was in the open beta, so... I didn't see much change there, but we'll guess we'll see when we're in the final game. And then they showed this slide which showed which rendering resolutions that they're targeting for the various different modes. They both aim to output at 4K, but have rendering resolutions that are very different. So it renders at 1080p on the prioritized frame rate, and then that's upscaled to 4K. So that's where you will get some weird artifacting going on, because it can't quite make the same distinct shapes. We had the same targets for Xbox, but then Xbox Series S is looking to do what the frame rate is doing, but at 30 FPS. And then at Steam, obviously it changes and varies depending on what hardware you got available to you. They did say something about trying to lower the minimum hardware requirements. That doesn't affect me since I'm a PS5 player, but that might mean something to you. They then spent a bit of time talking about hit stop, how they've added that more into the game. They showed a little video, which I'll show in a minute, that where they're trying to convey that they've added more hit stop in. Let's go and have a look at that now. So yeah, you could definitely notice there were some changes where you had moments of stop. And they talked about how they were changing the sound of it as well to try and make it more oomph. They also had a lengthy discussion about mitigating friendly fire. I hate friendly fire myself. I hate that, especially something like cluster ammo, where through no fault of your own, some other player is using techniques that might be perfectly reasonable to them, but it means that you can't play. They're saying that they're trying to reduce the friendly fire so that people of a wide range of skills can get involved without it becoming quite annoying for other players, and I definitely appreciate that. Longsword mains get a lot of flack for how they disrupt gameplay, but it's not really their fault. First of all, the main weak points on a monster tend to be pretty universally the head, so everyone's going to try and swarm the head. So why should you get out of the way for a hammer main when you're just trying to do the most damage you can? So try and remove the friendly fire a bit. Now some people want the friendly fire, and so they try to demonstrate some of the changes that they've made, and that you will still have access to the shockproof jewel from late in the Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak life cycle. And then they showed a video of an example of what the hammer does with its upswings to friendly fire, and this poor, unassuming hunter. To me, that still seems really annoying, so I don't know why they've done that, but okay, here we are. Okay, big one. They've confirmed that they've made an adjustment so that monsters don't change area as much, and they're trying to target the same frequency of movement as in Monster Hunter World. They did say that you can use pop-up camps and fast travel to move around. I would question that though, because sometimes some of the pop-up camps just get destroyed by monsters. They also said that the maps are the largest that they've ever been, but the Windward Plains doesn't seem as large as some other places to me. But hey, there you go. Then for all you bug heads, they showed off the new vaulting. Very nice. So you can stay airborne now. And some of this is a bit blocked out by my camera here, so I'll read out what it says at the bottom. But adding vault dancing to strengthen aerial action. Players can combo into a variety of aerial actions using vaulting. Aerial attack power increases by 2 levels each time you vault. That sounds good. They said they showed off that they added an offset attack at the beginning of the descending slash. There is a video of that. I'll see if I can find that. And what you can't see on the screen right now, orange extract now also negates knockback while a weapon is drawn, and red, white and orange extract effect now also mitigates wind pressure, tremors and roars. I don't know if that's just small or completely, that's wild. And then to show that offset attack that they've added in, we'll have a look at it here. Here it comes. And also we get a look at the training dummy. And then we get into the lance, the big juicy stuff. Again, I'll read out what's covered by my face, but we'll go step by step. Charge counter now allows guarding whilst charging. Previously, you had to release the charge counter as the attack was coming in order to actually successfully block. So now, whilst you're still charging, you'll be guarding. That's good. And can be chained into from any other move. I don't know if that's literally any other move, but what I take that to mean is you could do a thrust and then go into a charge counter. Essentially like the same as the old counter stance. So now it can be accessed from anywhere. Power Guard will now charge to higher levels more quickly when used to successfully defend against more powerful monster attacks. That's a confusing statement. I didn't even realize there were different levels of Power Guard, and it makes it sound like once you have successfully defended against the more powerful monster attacks, it will now charge to higher levels more quickly. But maybe what they mean is that there's different levels of guarding power within a Power Guard, and you'll get there quicker, which will allow you to defend against more powerful monster attacks. I don't know. They didn't actually go into that much, so I'm a bit confused by that. And then there's this last bit. Perfect Guard and Power Guard can now be chained into a new move. They didn't say what that was, but there's a new move and it can chain into it. And then they got a little video, which was quite hard to see what was actually going on. I'm not sure what they're trying to convey in this video, so let's break it down. Perfect Guard. Okay, Perfect Guard into a follow-up attack. That's normal. That was a Power Guard into a triple thrust. Okay, that was very quick. You got a block and then quickly into that. There was a leaping thrust in there at the end. That doesn't show us much. It shows us that it's very quick and nimble, but I think we'd get there eventually anyway. So those are the changes to Lance. What do you think down in the comments below? I feel happy that you can now get to charge counter at any point. I did defend it, but it's there as an option now. The rest of it, I wasn't really sure what they're trying to convey, so hey. Next up we have the switch axe changes. I wasn't really paying attention during this, but I'll read these out, so if you're a switch axe main, this might mean something to you. Various adjustments made so that switching to sword mode after building the axe mode gauge feels more satisfying. Parameter improvements made to various moves including full release slash, and knockback is now negated when using full release slash. Okay, if you're a switch axe main, might want to go back to this point in the presentation and watch it over as they talk over these things a bit more. I was more distracted by what was happening with the lance. Sword and shield. Traditionally my other main weapon, but as I've said recently, I get a little bit confused in it. For example, you say rising slash here. Which one was rising slash again? I can't remember. It's traditionally been a bit more of a button mashing weapon for me, so I don't always know the names of every little move that you do. But I'll read these out in case these mean a lot to you. Rising slash can now be used while guarding. Parameter improvements to various attacks, especially normal attacks and perfect rush. This leads into what gets talked about in the general weapon improvements talked about later. Improved the responsiveness of the mobile chop and Y slash combo, as well as guard slash and perfect rush. And down at the bottom, improved evasion effectiveness of backstep and sliding swipe. Then they did show a little video, and I'll show that again. So let's check out this video. That's all very nice and rapid looking, so I will say that. I did watch this video and think, oh, that looks cool. There are loads of hits in. That's perfect rush. And that all looks very cool, but I'm not quite sure what they were trying to convey is new there. Then we got on to the bow and other weapons. And this was a funny one because they actually started at the bottom. They said general wide-ranging adjustments to skills and elemental values to balance for full game content including endgame, and overall adjustments to hit detection and low damage output compared to past Monster Hunter titles. What they were saying was that rather than try and bring down the values of really high attacks, they want to bring up the values of lower attacks. So that's interesting. That said, on the same slide, they say that they're toning down the tracer shots for the bow. So I don't know what that means. There's a whole load of stuff there about the bow. I'll read it out, but I'm not an expert. Rebalancing the bow with increased attack power and responsiveness of moves, such as normal attacks and arc shots, while toning down the power of tracer shots. When targeting a monster with focus strike, multiple wounds are now locked onto one by one with a brief delay in between rather than all at once, and they showed this in a video. One by one. With the first part of the video, it was hard to tell whether the attack power had increased or not, because we don't see any damage numbers. Next, they confirmed how skills work in this game. Now typically, if you're building for Lance, you want a skill like Guard. So if you build an armor set with Guard in it, that's great, but then what if you switch out to a secondary weapon that doesn't need that? Would that restrict the use of which secondary weapons you could use? Well, not anymore. Weapon-specific skills, like Guard, are attached to the weapon. So, you can build a armor set that has more general skills, like speed eating, and you can then, when you're out in the world, you can have your lance, which will have stuff like Guard on it, and then if you want to switch out to a bow, or to a greatsword in this case, you can switch over to it and it would have focus on it. This is a very welcome change, and what they demonstrated, check this out. So we've got this Hope Blade here, and it has speed sharpening level 1 on it. Then, when you upgrade it, it gets a level of crit eye. So, now that means, and these are different for the different type of weapon, I believe, as in a chemistrist weapon will have different equipment skills than the expedition tree. So that means that now not only is it, especially with something like Greatsword, where there's typically like, oh, you just use the rocket powered Greatsword because that has the highest values. Now it's not quite that simple, because you've also got, on top of the different attack and element, you'll have different equipment skills, and you will also have slots, so you'll be able to put those in, which I think just opens up the possibilities of what weapons you might use, which adds a lot more diversity. So that's great. Now, they covered a lot in this presentation, so I would have missed some stuff, but the one last thing to add is that they were asked, will there be another open beta? And they said that they're not planning to, and if they did, it would more than likely be what we got before. So not with these improvements that they're talking about here. The idea would be more just to get more people playing the game. They didn't technically say there won't be a demo, but they didn't confirm that either. So we might be needing to wait until the full release of the game. Now, PC players, they did say that they're thinking about releasing some sort of benchmarking software so you can test how it might perform on your hardware. But they haven't confirmed that yet. And yeah, that's a summary breakdown of everything that they covered. Sounds like they're really listening to their community and bringing about lots of great changes. It sounds like they're keeping the core identity of the Lance whilst embracing the past of the Lance. So that's good. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video and that you have a great day whatever you're up to. Hopefully next time my room will be a bit less of a mess. Anyway, take care and I'll catch you on the other side.